ABC 15 set out to do something that's never been done before. We created an interactive database online with details of the credentials and disciplinary records for all of Arizona's 400-plus midwives who have active licenses. Throughout this story, you can click on the QR code on your screen for a direct link. You're about to see why this is so important.
This has been the hardest thing I've ever had to live through.
Joey Harrelson's daughter and grandson both died last December after a home birth gone wrong.
And I'm a pretty strong person, but this has torn our family apart.
Her daughter, Jordan Terry, hired midwife Sarah Kankowitz based on recommendations from other new moms. Joey said Jordan and her family did not know that state regulators had found deficiencies in the care that Kankowitz provided during 2 other births, and she had also received 5 fines for failing to turn in reports on time. This wasn't the first bad outcome.
Yes. After the fact, family started researching. What I've learned is that so many violations, so many citations.
3 years before Jordan Terry and her baby Mac died, Heather Flowers hired the same midwife.
And I really trusted that she had my health, my safety that's what she was there to monitor. All these red flags were ignored.
According to state records, Kankowitz did not check vital signs as often as required during a lengthy labor. And when baby Karina, who was 11 pounds, was born, Heather said she was purple and not responsive at first. Luckily, she was revived. And when it came to caring for the mom, the state's report said Kankowitz violated the rules when she did not seek consultation for a severe laceration, a tear Heather developed when delivering such a big baby.
Every day of my life, I have a consequence from the tear. Every single day. There has not been one day in the last 4 years that have gone by that I have not suffered.
Heather wanted to warn others about the midwife, but said it was hard to figure out the process.
I wasn't going to give up, making sure the report finished and was complete. So it took a lot. It took quite a long time.
Heather filed her complaint with the Arizona Department of Health Services. ADHS licenses nearly 100 midwives, and the same group of regulators also supervises funeral homes, audiologists, laser techs, and several other health professions and facilities.
I couldn't believe it. I thought to myself, how are these people going to address this issue or even understand what actually happened here?
Adding to the confusion, Arizona has 2 classes of midwives licensed by 2 separate agencies. There are more than 300 certified nurse midwives who have advanced medical degrees and are licensed under the state's nursing board. They also can use more medication and more medical interventions than midwives licensed through ADHS like Kankowitz was. This ADHS group just needs a high school diploma, no formal medical training, as long as they pass a written knowledge test and get third-party certification from a credentialing group that requires an apprenticeship-type program.
I wasn't aware of the certified midwife versus a licensed midwife, lay midwives. I really didn't delve into that. I trusted, that she would be safe regardless because this person is saying that they're professional.
What would you tell a young woman anywhere if they're kind of like, oh, this looks so idyllic?
Try not to be sold on a fantasy. Ask more questions.
It was detrimental to the health and safety of the mother and child.
So they're trying to revoke her license?
They suspended her for 6 months.
To help families answer their questions, ABC 15 spent days sorting through hundreds of licensing records from both ADHS and the Board of Nursing, creating a first-of-its-kind database in Arizona. On ABC15.com, you can see the names of all Arizona midwives with active licenses, their regulatory agency, their type of license, and how long they've been practicing in Arizona. You can search by name and click links to their disciplinary records. You can see whether they've had any fines, any violations, any deficiencies, any suspensions, any revocations.
That's excellent. Yeah, having it all in one area would be very beneficial to moms.
Longtime midwives tell ABC 15 most of their colleagues do an excellent job in providing patient-centered care and natural childbirth while following state health and safety regulations.
And having an excellent skilled provider at your birth increases the safety tenfold. So I think that doing your due diligence, if this is something that you want and want to pursue, that you absolutely should do your homework.
Sarah Kankowitz no longer has a license to practice midwifery in our state. As for Jordan and baby Mac's family, they're still coping with their loss, but they're also focusing on what we can do as a community to prevent future birth tragedies. We at ABC 15 hope this database can lower a hurdle to finding quality care.
I appreciate all that you guys have done. Just get the word out.
Rapid bursts of gunfire at a July block party in Detroit. 21 people shot, 2 killed.
Certain people were shot. I was seeing them being carried and lifted away. It was just madness.
And in Cincinnati, Ohio, last fall.
When would this stop? Would this ever stop? Like, how many people have to bury their kids?
This dad lost his 11-year-old son, and lucky to be alive, this Valley police officer.
Sergeant's guy cranked off like 18 rounds.
In all these shootings, authorities say the assailants were using small devices like these, often known as Glock switches or auto sears.
Cause a lot of destruction in a short amount of time. It's scary.
Phoenix ATF Special Agent in Charge, Brendan Iber, tells me these illegally converted guns can fire as many as 30 rounds in about 2 seconds. The ATF has put on several demonstrations across the country. That's a regular semi-automatic handgun. Then the same gun with a machine gun conversion device.
You have no control over where that's going, and so it's more of a spray, and so it's a wider range, and it's so many rounds going downrange, to wherever, that the general public's caught up in it.
How high a priority is this for the ATF to get as many of these off the street as possible?
It's our top priority.
The ATF has been training local police agencies because they say these devices are tiny and usually black, so you have to know what to look for. This auto sear is colored green for demonstration purposes.
This little piece of plastic right here makes this firearm fully automatic.
Local police officers are finding them in Peoria on a traffic stop. The officer pulled 2 guns out of a car this summer with so-called Glock switches. Now, they aren't made by Glock, but can retrofit Glock handguns, and this one was recovered in Phoenix, and these during a DPS traffic stop. And watch this police body cam video from Mesa. Tracking a suspect in 2023, officers shoot him after they say he reached for his gun. When they got up close, you can see it, the machine gun switch on the back of the gun.
Those devices in and of themselves, just those little pieces of plastic or metal that you have, are considered a machine gun. So just the basic possession of that, not attached to a firearm, is illegal.
Under federal law, possession of a single machine gun conversion device is punishable by up to 10 years in prison.
Do we have any idea how many are out there?
No, and I don't know if we can ever find out.
And here's why. People can make them at home. You just need a 3D printer, which costs a few $100s, and a downloaded file from the internet. According to this federal indictment, ATF agents believe one northern Arizona man manufactured approximately 1,000 machine gun conversion devices using a 3D printer in Seligman.
As long as you have the filament and the CAD drawings and the 3D printer, you can print as many as you want.
You could even do it on a public 3D printer in less than an hour, which is why I am outside of a local library. I have my thumb drive and I'm going in.
Earlier this month, I got a library card, took some online tutorials, and signed this waiver saying I won't 3D print a deadly weapon.
Hi, I have an appointment for the makery for the 3D printer at 1 o'clock.
Let's just print right over the network.
But no one at the library asked me what I was 3D printing in advance, nor checked on our project when we were in the makery lab. We did print a gun, but this one only shoots rubber bands. Thank you. Librarians now find themselves at the intersection of technology and public safety. So Agent Iber says the ATF is starting to train librarians and other managers of public 3D printers who may have no idea what a Glock switch or auto sear may look like.
So the librarians and so these school administrators or wherever these 3D printers are can see what's being printed, right? And maybe get information to pass along to state, local, and federal law enforcement once they see these things being manufactured.
It's part of a larger effort announced by the U.S. Justice Department in early September, creating a task force dedicated to increased training and prosecutions while also enlisting the help of 3D printer manufacturers. The common goal, keeping the switches off the streets and saving lives. Grabbing a basketball stretches tight scar tissue.
This is my sport.
But an easy jump shot was nearly impossible not that long ago.
Oh my goodness. Just the natural movements help.
This is healing. Although physically and mentally, Dylan Ryan will never be the same guy he was at 9 a.m. on August 26, 2021, sitting at his desk at Platinum Printing minutes before this.
We have an explosion right in real northeast corner.
There's almost like a flash bang that goes over my left shoulder. I'm blown back from my chair, and I remember looking up, and I just see blue sky.
Dylan says he didn't know if he was dead or alive, but then he saw his coworker, Parker Mildebrandt.
We just start climbing over machines to get out.
Then Dylan's brother, Andrew Ryan, who co-owns the shop, emerges. So does Glenn Jordan from the nearby eyeglass shop. All four men spent weeks in the hospital. Dylan burned over 25% of his body with a young family at home.
A lot of isolating days where you feel like giving up and giving in, and you feel like, would it have been easier to have died?
As he thinks back to that time now, he's overcome by a different emotion.
And there are people within our community in the East Valley that dropped what they're doing when this happened just to check on my family. And when it comes to our community, I cannot express enough thanks and gratitude.
It's been a long road.
Yeah.
Were you aware that there was even this kind of danger out there? Your attorneys called it like having sticks of dynamite underground.
I was not aware of anything that something of this accident could even occur.
Dylan said Platinum Printing wasn't even connected to the gas line, but investigators found a stub behind the shopping center, an inactive 1-inch diameter pipe made out of Driscoll Pipe 8000, a problematic type of pipe that can prematurely become brittle and crack in our desert climate. ABC 15 started reporting on the danger a decade ago after a similar explosion in a Gilbert man's garage.
Lit a cigarette and there was a whoosh from, a flash fire.
Back then, Southwest Gas agreed to remove or replace inactive service lines and stubs of Driscoll Pipe 8000, determined to be the most susceptible to heat damage. In 2021, the company said the pipe in the Chandler explosion wasn't in the remediation plan because it was mislabeled on a map. As a result, Southwest Gas told utility regulators they'd expand their safety program.
We cannot allow Arizonans to be afraid of the pipe below their very feet.
We think that we have a strong track record and focus on safety.
While there have not been more explosions, the ABC 15 investigators found more leaks and clusters of prior leaks in the valley and other hot parts of Arizona.
Hello, sir. Oh, hello, ma'am.
During a trip to the Bullhead City area, we discovered Southwest Gas was not only eliminating inactive service and stubs, but the company was removing all Driscoll Pipe 8000 in some neighborhoods. That's when Southwest Gas officials confirmed to ABC 15 for the first time that some active lines distributing gas to homes and businesses were also deteriorating.
We are proactively replacing them in the event that they could cause leakage in the future.
ABC 15's discovery prompted the Arizona Corporation Commission to require Southwest Gas to submit quarterly updates on their efforts to monitor and replace failing portions of Driscoll Pipe. Then this month, a final settlement over the Chandler explosion between the utility regulators and Southwest Gas, including a $2 million fine and more expedited pipe removals.
The safety measures that Southwest Gas has agreed to go beyond what is currently required by state and federal rules and statutes.
How do you react to that?
I was happy to hear that. And I think the ACC ruling puts this in a step in the right direction, that we are finding ways to diminish and mitigate issues like this from ever happening again. This is where we spend a lot of our time.
Dylan and his brother never reopened their print shop, but he is working to help other burn victims now with a charity called Changed by Fire.
You're not promised tomorrow. And you want to do everything in your days to make sure that you make a positive impact in those around you that you love.